What's going on, everyone? Eric Rosen, astrologer for Viking Rising Astrology. This is your Libra solar eclipse horoscope. October 2nd. This is going to carry us energetically, though, into the next 6 months. And so pay attention. This is not just your average, daily horoscope. This is not just your average new moon. This is kind of a resurgence of releasing the gunk of really the past year. Number one, because we did have a solar eclipse in Libra about this exact same time last year in the fall. And so what I've been channeling for a lot of people is, if you didn't like the results that showed up for you, especially in relationships or decisions that you made of any type, to try to make your life more beautiful, you based it upon some value systems, like maybe you base it upon other people's value systems, maybe persuaded yourself in certain directions. If those things didn't go well, consider this being a reboot, a reawakening to make decisions that go into a better alignment. You could think of it as like weighing and balancing things out because it's Libra. It could even look like choosing another door, because we do have this moment where Jupiter's reaching the degree at which it's going to go retrograde. So there is an opportunity to just see that like every thought is weaving a choice right now. It's weaving a timeline. It's very indicative upon how are we showing up as a person, who's the person that we're showing up as. And I got a little puppy rescue, so it's chewing on my sandal right now, so take that back. And so, this is this shift in frequency for us to see that, we're all the wounded healer. We've been that since 2019. That's part of our identity. There's no getting around it. The North Node's really activated it over this past 14 months. And so, we have an opportunity to see that we can still go into the dreamscape. We can still go into that quantum field, work with the future of how we want things to go, to get comfortable, though, also in accepting the current circumstances and seeing like what are these changes that we can make really deeply within ourselves, to see that, it really is the moment, circumstantial beliefs, thoughts that we're having that are going to influence more the gentle trajectory of our reality. And so it's a lot of effort, but what makes the effort easier is to more so with that subconscious mind, with Saturn and Pisces making aspects of this new moon, and then that getting comfortable piece, like with Mars and Cancer. So it's like it's getting to that place where it's going to go to its degree, that it's going to hit its final retrograde point, because it's going to retrograde at the end of the year in Leo and then into Cancer next year. And so it's okay to like slow down and start to reprogram the subconscious and the identity. And I know this gets talked about a lot in like self-development and spiritual sort of circles, like anyway, but there is a divine timing though, based upon our operational frequency of what it is that we're doing. So if you're wanting different results this time, this 6-month cycle with relationships, or just, anything that you value in life in general, you're wanting the beautiful sunset, you're wanting things to go positive, definitely look at what needs to be released, what needs to be changed, what needs to be like let go of, and to really work on that subconscious and that self. It's definitely not a time to push harder on the outside reality of things to try to make ourselves like more comfortable or force a dream to come true. That's just really a recipe for burnout. And with this new moon solar eclipse being on Lilith, it's kind of like in the South Node, it's kind of like, we got to be careful about the shadow aspects of self that just kind of want to use our ego and just like push into decision making, or push, to like something that we think is the beautiful sunset, and just like trying to get there and like almost like skipping the weighing out and the decisions and the recalibration of self in order to like get to that moment. So this is, a warning to people, like not using their ego to chase dangling carrots on a stick, to go through, you could say, the waves and the rebalancing of like what it's going to take to actually create and manifest the beauty in life that we want. Because, new moons and solar eclipse as well, new moon, a good time for renewing manifestations. But I think that we have to be okay with like actually facing the emotional undercurrents that are gonna feel a little, rough, but only if they're resisted. It's actually not that difficult if we lean into what's coming up for us, dare I say, in the presence, and not getting too lost in the past or just trying to feel better. It's like if the past is showing up or discomfort showing up, it's like you bring it into the presence of things and you sit with it and you weigh things out and you make those decisions on like what needs to really be done in this moment. It's a very mature energy. It's remembering Pluto's still in Capricorn until the 19th of next month. And so, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for all of us to see new manifestations that, go in a more positive direction. It's a South Node solar eclipse, so I don't want people to like think that it's like the biggest portal ever, for love and relationships or money or just, all the feel good stuff. It's a South Node solar eclipse. So, it's more karmic, it's more release, it's more tempering expectations, especially in those areas of life that I just mentioned. And also too, just a word of caution around this, because change is very much in the air. But it's like, if you did like the results over the last year and, love relationships, money projects, just anything that you value in life, consider like keep doing the same thing, but also you're still probably going to be in a boat of making gentle realignments to make sure that you can keep going in that direction, and just honoring the fact that change is always the constant in the universe, and that, there's always going to be waves of different perspectives and beliefs and emotions that move through us that really paint the picture of the avatar that we are, the vibration that we are. And that's really the wounded healer, is that, we don't just get to pick and say, I'm this, we actually have to be it fully and take actions as that person, and that everything becomes an extension of us at our core. So let's see what we got card-wise today. And by the way, I will be putting up the video for the Sun and Rising sign horoscopes for this it'll cover the Libra eclipse, but also the Jupiter retrograde. It's very significant coming up for all 12 zodiac signs, your Sun and Rising signs. So I'll be posting that later today, tomorrow at the latest, for the whole month of October. And of course, as always, if you want to find out Pluto Capricorn for your sign, link down below. Same thing for the ebook for studying your natal chart, and natal chart readings on deck, deep dive astrology readings to see what cycles you're going through on deck as well. So I actually drew two cards. Interesting. So we got the mid-heaven card and the resources card, both in reverse. So that's kind of a tough one, because I think we have to look at this as this piece where whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, I'll show you how they look upright. They're beautiful cards, even though they're reversed, so it's the medicine, but it's like, whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, the castle we're trying to build, we need the resources, we're trying to be abundant. It's tough because that Jupiter is going to be retrograding soon, so we're kind of hitting this like peak moment of the fickleness of abundance that Gemini brings in, and also the overwhelm that can bring in, the overextension that can bring in with this Libra eclipse to actually like rebalance. And so I look at this as a little bit of, because so many planets are retrograding, and because of just, it's, things dealing with the financial, like building aspects. It's like Pluto and Capricorn, it's more of a destructive energy. Venus is in Scorpio, destructive energy. It's like Jupiter is at fall in Gemini. So the planets that are the benefics that deal with abundance, prosperity, money, it's like we have to kind of almost like treat it as like an early winter a little bit. And so what was historically done in the winter time, and people ration, they ration their time, their energy, their resources, because the crops weren't growing. So we kind of have to look at that too. I would say, especially with our thoughts. I know people are going through things like solar flares and activations and this astrology, but it's also remembering too that we're commander in chief of like what thoughts that we choose to allow ourselves to indulge in. And sometimes we burn ourselves out with just overthinking too. And the overextension that can happen with that And so it's like rationing our thoughts, rationing our focus and our energy to go, well, maybe it's not the right time to like try to build up the next, high wall in the castle, or the next, tower in the castle. And it's a little bit more, I'm going to draw a clarifying card. Yeah, it's just like the home life in reverse. It's kind of like, hey, just like take care of, we got to make sure that we're doing the nourishing element work of it. The Mars and Pisces, so it's like people might want to like go up, or treat this as like, oh, it's the last quarter of the year, let's make a push, before the holidays, or let's start thinking about 2025. But it's very humbling, because there's so many different elements, whether you want to liken it to what's going on in the collective, in the world, or you liken it into just the landscape here in America with this election coming up. It's all over the place, where it's like we keep doing the things that we're doing, but there's still responsibilities that we all have. But the pushiness to try to like make life this most beautiful way that we want it, I think it's just going to be the rubber band effect for people, where the harder you push, the more it stings, like pushing back, with so many things retrograde and also going retrograde. It's like it's a rewind of the tape during this time. So, and then with an eclipse on the South Node that deals with karma, it's like it's releasing, it's rehashing, it's the rewind of the tape of like, what were the decisions that were already made that we're kind of like facing. And so it's not the best energy for starting new things. I'm just going to be completely real and honest. So it's like creations, conversations, things that we're doing that we've already like been doing, that shit all makes sense. It's like, if the tree is healthy, the trunk is healthy, cool, keep letting other extensions and branches go off of it. But if you're spending $1 million trying to like plant something new, and it feels like more effort and struggle, especially relationships, projects, situations, it's kind of like, well, this is just not in the flow. We got to find what that looks like, because looking ahead, this Mars retrograde, and like, it's sneaky too, because it's like, oh, it's Libra season, it's the fall, but it's with the South Node, and it's like Venus is in Scorpio. Those are terrible placements for relationships. Those are terrible, just energies for like, just the benefic aspect of things, especially in relationships. And so, it doesn't mean that we stop like wanting the best, and like we do like a Pluto and Capricorn, like give up, like, oh my God, it's so hard, it's so difficult, I can't show up to my responsibilities, we still got to take care of business. But I think finding that love and that optimism to like put a bow on this is going, well, we can transcend our limits, remembering the astrology is an inclination of things, but it's not the end all be all like limiting factor. And I think that's the benefit of Jupiter and Chiron like making aspects. And so with the South Node Libra eclipse, it's like solar eclipse, it's like the reflection in the outer world and what you're seeing out there, the balance of things really just kind of does come back to you. Like you can be the change in yourself. And the moment that you feel like there's something that you can do on the outside that's going to like change fortune or change circumstances, I would immediately drop it back to an inner journey, which can be hard because, with Lilith in this Libra energy, it deals very much with having to look at the reflection of the shadows of things to just make sure that we're making decisions that can feel edgy, like that's okay, like feels kind of like, who cares, like what people think, and sort of letting go of those judgments. That's a huge part of this, but also making sure that it's actually in alignment with our value systems, or at least what's evolving value-wise for ourselves. because that change is definitely in the air, but it can't be changed for other people to please other people. Definitely don't do that. And just not doing the same, stuff over and over again unless it's working. And even then, it's like, what can we do to graduate to a next level to, weigh out the evidence of how those things are going and make it even better. So I love you all. If you guys want to get any of those offers, the links will be down below. And I will see you whenever I do a horoscope next, because I got my own stuff on rebalancing, because I'm a human too. All right, love you all.